So can you see the screen now? Okay. Yep. So on Monday we were up to the government policies. Okay, because we have just learned, okay, the major uh, economic objectives in an economy, and we know that in order to have a good economic development, we need to achieve all three of the objectives, right? Economic growth, price stability, and low unemployment. Okay, if we are able to achieve all of them, the economy should be very nice. Okay, right? And at the same time, we can also apply the economic objectives into our business cycle. Okay, right here, right? We have different stages for our business cycles, and yeah, there are always ups and downs for the economic cycle. Okay, and we know that at different stage, okay, for the economic objectives, there will be different changes. Okay, there will be different changes. And also for the businesses and consumers, when you are at different stage, okay, you will behave differently. Okay, all right, yeah, and yeah, it will very soon it will go back to the next cycle, and then yeah, it goes on and on and on and on. It repeats itself, okay, again and again. All right, and yeah, and when you see so many different stages in a business cycle, or what you can call that an economic cycle, you know that as a government we have to do something. We have to do something in order to stabilize the economy. The economy, all right? Yeah, and we will use different policies to achieve that. Okay, we will use different policies to achieve that. And the first policy that we started to talk about, which is fiscal policy. Okay, so fiscal policies, once again, they are there are some very simple policies. So basically, you just you know try to manage your government revenue and also your government spending. Okay, so this is, oh, wait a second. Yeah, okay, right. So for fiscal policies, very simple. Okay, you just have to manage both of your revenue, government revenue. I'm not talking about business revenue, or whatever that is. Okay, I'm talking about government revenue. Okay, and when we talk about government revenue, we usually talk about the taxes. Okay, different taxes like direct tax, talking about income tax or corporate tax for the workers, for the businesses, or when you are talking about some indirect taxes, okay, usually the taxes on goods and services. So eventually they will become your revenue as a government, okay, and then you can spend the revenue on you know different places, okay, right? When you look at our government, where do they spend the revenue on? See, you can see the education, healthcare, infrastructure, civil servants, etc., etc. Okay, so you can see if you are able to manage this policy here, fiscal policy, okay, you can either promote the economy, so which is number one. Yeah, you can either promote the economy, okay, when you are trying to lower the tax or increase government spending. Okay, so here, right, government spending, GS. Okay, or if you want to stabilize the economy, okay, when the economy is getting too hot, okay, yeah, the growth is getting too great, too rapidly. Okay, if that is the case, then you might want to stabilize the economy because you don't want to see too much inflation. Okay, inflation is not good for your economy. We know that from the government objectives, right, or economic objectives, right, and that's why sometimes you want to promote the economy, and sometimes we want to stabilize the economy by increasing the tax, right, and also reducing the government spending. Okay, right? All right, yeah, to lower the economic activity. Okay, so you want to, cool down the economy by doing that. Okay, yeah. So here, I have one scenario. Okay, so if you can look at, yeah, the second part right there. Okay, so here we have a case. So assume now the government, they are trying to use this policy and they are increasing taxes. Okay, if they are trying to increase the tax, okay, so which stage of the business cycle uh, they are experiencing, most likely, if this is the case? Which stage of the business cycle, okay, do you think they are experiencing? And that's why they have to increase the tax. Okay, boom, right? Okay, yeah, so you see here, once again, if if you are seeing the government is increasing the tax, okay, they're trying to stabilize the economy. All right, because they see the economy is getting too hot, okay, and they want to slow down all the economic activities so that the inflation will not be too great. Okay, so when you go back to your business cycle right here, so look at this, look at boom. Okay, look at the section, the second one, boom. Right, when you have that, yeah, economic growth, that's a lot. But when you look at inflation, is going up even further. Okay, yeah, so that is not good for the economy or to the society, because people, when they are trying to buy goods and services, they have to spend much more money. Okay, and as a government, we don't want to see that. We just want to see a stable economic growth. Okay, yeah, and that's why in this case we assume, right, the economy should be at boom. Okay, so here, boom, right? So that's why we have to use fiscal policy number 2. Okay, yeah. So number 2 here, I'm talking about the usage right here. Okay, usage right here. So you have 1 and 2 option. Okay, yeah, and now we should use number 2. Okay, right, because we want to stabilize the economy. Okay, so very quickly, what do you think if we as a government increase taxes? So yeah, what will be the effects to the consumers when we increase the amount of tax that you have to pay? Come on, yeah, you don't have to be right. Yeah, 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 Chloe. Yeah, yeah. So you spend less, right? Okay, but I want you to explain it step by step. It doesn't always have to be the econ student answering the question. Yeah, right. If there's increase, okay, so that's good. If there's an increase of tax, okay, so for the consumers, they will have less disposable income. Okay, so disposable income is just basically your income after deducting the tax. Okay, because now you have to pay a much higher tax. So at the end of the day, you will have less income. Yeah, does it make sense? Right? Okay, so if you have less income, you are going to spend less on goods and services. That is totally normal. Yeah, if you have a rational thinking, right? When you're earning less income, then you spend less. Okay, and it creates a lower demand, right? Okay, yeah. So I'll just copy that. Okay, from Jesse. Okay, right. So see the effect, because of higher tax, then there will be less income or disposable income, right? And because of that, well, let me, yep, so there will be less income. And because of that, right, there will be, oh, Okay, there will be less spending for goods and services. Okay, and at the end you can tell, right, the demand, yeah, for GNS is going to go down. Okay, right? They don't want to spend on goods and services as much as before because they have less income. Okay, so you can tell, if that's the case, if the demand of goods and services is going down, then at the end, okay, the output of the economy will go down. Okay, right? Yeah, and the reason why the output of economy will go down, we can look at the effects. Oh, yep. Are you guys all right? Right here? Yeah, does it make sense? So this is the effect, okay, to the consumers. Well, it's like a flow, okay. So if you have less income, then you spend less, demand will, less, and at the end, when you look at the economy, the output will go down because people they don't want to buy, as many goods and services as before. Okay, yeah. And the reason why the output would go down, well, part of it is because of the effects to the businesses. So think about this: when the taxes are increasing. Okay, we have so many different taxes. Well, some of the taxes they are focusing on workers, and well, you can call them consumers as well. And some of the taxes they are focusing on businesses, like corporate tax. Okay, so when you are earning a profit, then you have to pay a certain amount of tax. Okay, right? So, in general, if there's an increase in tax, so what will be the effects to the businesses? Come on, someone. Show me the answer. So if there's an increasing tax. Okay, so there will be once again, Chloe, can you do it like step by step? Yeah. I want to see some more detailed explanation. Okay. So that's good, Margaret. I like the answer. That answer here, yeah, I liked it. Okay. So less spending from consumers, okay? And that's why, see, do you see that when there's less spending from consumers, so the businesses they earn less. Okay, they earn less. They earn less revenue. If I put the answer from Jesse, in between of the flow in Margaret's answer, then yeah, they will have less revenue and possibly they are going to earn less profit. And at the end, if you have less profits, then you have less amount of money for further expansion. Okay, so there will be less investment, and yeah, you cannot grow up your business, and possibly there will be some financial crisis happening in your business in the long run, and yeah, you might fail. Okay, you might fail eventually if this okay, if you are not in a good position. Okay, all right. So yeah, so that's very good. Okay, so here, I'm going to just copy your answers. Right. So there will be less. Oh yeah. Okay. So less spending from consumers. Oh no, consumers. Right. And that's why. Okay. There will be less revenue, sales, or sales, okay, for the businesses. Oh yeah, exactly. Okay, they are all connected. They are basically all connected. Okay, and here the policies, is basically when you talk about policies, they are government intervention. Okay, if you don't have any government intervention, okay, you will be, you'll be floating in the business cycle. Okay, and you don't want to you don't want to be like that. Okay, you want to stay in a certain position. Okay, and that's why the government they have to kick in and try to intervene the market, try to make the economy more stable. Okay, all right, yeah. So this is what government policy is all about. You are going to intervene, okay, and then try to manipulate the economy using different policies. Okay, yeah, you are actually manipulating the economy using the policies. Okay, so yeah, so less revenue or sales, and at the end, right, there could be less profit for the businesses, and with less profits, okay, so there will be less investment, right? Yeah, less investment, and you will see, there will be less opportunity for you to do R&D, okay, to grow the business, and if your company is wait, what is this? If your company is in a bad position, so there might be, you know, firms might fail. Okay, yeah, right. Okay, right. So let me take a look of the answer from Chloe. So less revenue, less investment, less R&D, demand, decrease demand, consumer change in taste frequently, less spending, uh, economy stop boosting. Okay. Yeah, that's also true. Yeah. But I would say, you know, let's use this flow here. Okay. So yeah, so this is the effects to the businesses, and you can wait once again, and you can see they are both connected. Okay, the effects to consumers and the effects to businesses, they are all connected. Okay, so at the end, you will be able to see because of all that. Okay, the economy, okay, the economy, and also the economy, right? For the economy, output will go down because of that. Okay, because increasing taxes, people they will spend less, and because people when they spend less, the suppliers or the businesses they will supply less. Okay, they will produce less. So at the end, when you look at everything together as one economy, the total output will go down. Okay, the output will go down. All right. Okay. Yep. So there's one more thing we need to know. If you are the business, okay, and you see, the things on the left hand side is happening, okay, what are you going to do? So what are you going to do if that's the case? So any possible business response that you are going to do to improve the situation in your business? Yeah, so now, right, you are paying a higher tax as a business, so you're earning less. So what are you going to do? Uh, Sorry, I didn't roll down the chat box, and yeah, so let me go through some of the questions first from you guys. So from Kenneth, why can businesses produce more if the demand is high to control the prices? Since the profits and should be enough in the boom. Okay. Um, Look, Kenneth. See, the problem here is okay. So when you are at boom, okay, of course, right? There should be a very high demand, okay, from the consumers. But now we are talking about, see, if you when you are at boom, and then the government they started to intervene, okay, they started to intervene into the market, okay. So this is the situation right now, Okay, you are at boom, right? But now the government decided to intervene in the market, and because of the action they did by increasing taxes, and that's why you will see the consequences right here. Okay, yeah. So those are all the consequences once the government decided to intervene the market. Okay, right? And because of all those interventions, right, you will see there will be less spending from consumers. There will be less earning from the consumer, from the businesses. Okay, so that's how you should see it. Okay, in this case, right? Okay. Uh, Okay, so government response. Right. So we are talking about what we should do. What we should do. Okay. So Margaret has a good point. Okay, decrease the price of the products. Okay, because we want to make it more. We try to attract more sales. Okay, so we might try to decrease the price of the product. Okay, and yeah, we might want to try to save some costs. So you might want to fire some workers. So yeah, Jesse has a good point as well, and yeah, Sarah has a good point. You find a cheaper supplier. Okay, improve cash flow. Well, yeah, if you are able to explain that more specifically, that'll be great. Okay, so when you are answering this in the exam, so sometimes you might see a question asking you, yeah, what could be the possible business responses, okay, to improve such situation. And I would say, okay, all of your points, they are all valid, okay? And as long as you are able to explain your points, then you will be just fine. So here, I'm just going to copy your, I have no idea what is happening here in the middle of the screen. Yeah. Well, anyway, so here, oh, okay. Yeah. You can say try to bargain for increasing credit period. Yeah. That will save your life, right? As a business. Okay. When you are not doing so well. Okay. Right. Uh. But once again, you also have to look at the case first. Okay. I'm pretty sure there will be some key key points that you should talk about it first, okay, when you look at the case, right? But right now, when we don't have any cases, yeah, we can make all kinds of assumptions, and they are all helping the business to get through this policy right here, okay, right? So here, by decreasing decrease the product price, right? Okay, to attract uh, customers. Okay, or here, or lower the cost, right? Lower the cost of production. Okay. Here there can be some example by firing some workers, right? Or you know, find a uh, finding a cheaper supplier. Okay, but they do have their disadvantages. Okay, when you are firing some workers, what can you tell me about the disadvantages? So yeah, you're trying to cut costs and right unethical. Yeah, anything else to the business? To yeah, also to the business. Anything else? Right, but unethical. I think yeah, you have a good point, right? Yeah, conflicts. Yeah, yeah, from trade unions. loss of skilled workers, or yeah, possibly a lower motivation for the existing workers. Okay, so wait, why? Oh, no, well, you see, yeah, because of the fear. Okay, because of the fear. Okay, mainly because of the fear, then you will have a lower motivation. Okay, well, that is not always the case. That is not always the case. Yeah, yeah, yeah. No, we don't always act like that. Okay, yeah. When you see people there, being fired, you first, the first thing that you are going to feel is fear. Okay, it's just fear. Yeah, because normal human being. Okay, we are all lazy. Okay, and the fear is all we do. Okay, yeah, yeah. Right? So, low motivation. Okay, so yeah, so you guys have some good points. And what about finding a cheaper supplier? What would be the major disadvantage? Yeah, lower quality, right? Okay, yeah, it takes time. Okay, right. So you see here, when you're using the points there, okay, explain by using the developments you have in the chat box. That's how you get the knowledge and the analysis at the same time. Okay, so do not just give me the points. Okay, always try to develop your points, right? Especially when you are working on uh, uh, the 6 mark questions. Okay, all right, yep. So yeah, so that's good. Um, right. Okay, yeah, I think that's all for here. All right, yeah, there are too many different examples. Okay, so I'm going to stop it here. Right, so that's fiscal policies. Okay, yep. Ah, what is this? Nope, nope, cannot do that. Okay, yeah, I'll clean that up later. Okay, yeah, so that is fiscal policy. And yeah, so that is one of the ways that government they will always use to intervene the market. Okay, right? So we are trying to change the business cycle, from the boom, okay, from the boom to somewhere lower. Okay, because when you go back to your business cycle, right? Boom is like on the top, okay, of the cycle. And when you are on the top, inflation is too great. And as a government, we don't want to see that. We want ourselves to be somewhere, like here, okay, like here, right? Do you see that? Yeah, somewhere here. But right now, you are on the top, okay? So that's why we are using the fiscal policy, trying to drag us down a little bit back to a point where it is situated in a place like the cross right there. Okay, right? Yeah. And don't forget. So this is just one option that you can make from fiscal policies. Okay. Yeah. Right now we are using option two. We are trying to stabilize the economy, and that's why the government decided to increase the tax, or they can reduce the government spending instead to achieve the same goal. Okay, so right now they are using option two. Okay, but if you are using option one, by reducing the taxes or reducing the government spending, then all the effects here will be okay in the exact opposite. All right, so all the effects will be in the exact opposite. Okay, if you're using option one. Oh, it's not working again. Okay, yeah. So I'm just gonna cross that out. When using option 1. Okay, right. Okay, all right. So yeah, so that's why I'm not going to talk. I'm going to talk about the effects to the consumers and the businesses when we are using fiscal policy option 1. Okay, when we are trying to boost the economy. Okay, because they are going to be the exact opposite. Okay, right, just like that. Okay, yeah. So after we have learned one policy, there's another policy, and the purpose of the second policy is the same. Okay, we are trying to control the economy. Okay, by using both of the policies, right? And the second policies here. Okay, well, but you can take a look of this. Yeah, take a look of this sentence before we go to the next policy. Okay, yeah, talking about government revenue. Okay, yeah, not only by imposing taxes. Okay, yeah, and government talking about government revenue, you can also use government borrowing to get some money from different people. Okay, so you are borrowing money from the general public. Okay, so here that's one very good example by issuing bonds. Okay, to raise fund. So you are issuing bonds to the general public. Okay, so when people like you and me, we are buying bonds from the government, we are lending money to the government. Okay, it works just like the commercial bond. Okay, all right, yeah. So at the end, if we decided to lend money to the government, then government, yeah, pretty sure they will have more money and they are able to spend more in the society. Okay, yeah, right? But usually when we talk about government revenue, of course, taxes, okay, they play the major role in this particular area. Okay, yeah, but there are so many different methods to gain government revenue. Okay, or or simply to gain money from the general public. Okay, right? Yeah, and then let's take a look of the second part. So the second part here, we are talking about another policy, and they do okay. They have the same purpose, like what I said. Okay, and we call that a monetary policy. Okay, monetary policy. This time we are trying to manipulate two other things. Okay, so what are the two other things? Yeah. So this question is mainly for the econ students. Yeah, right. Money supply and interest rate. Okay. So thank you for that. And yeah. So let me quickly write that down. Money supply and interest rate. Okay. And in business, we will only focus on the second one. Okay. So this one here is more important to us because money supply is more about economics. Okay. But very simply, you can just imagine this: when there is more money supply, which means that in the society there will be more money. Okay, so people, they are more able to spend, okay, on goods and services. And if that's the case, right, if you increase the money supply, the economy should be getting better. Okay, so this is all you have to know. Okay, the details will be very complicated. Okay, yeah, but yes, right. So this is all you have to know as a business student. Okay, yeah. So we'll focus on business, the interest rate. Okay, right. So when we talk about interest rate, it's not only about the interest rate that we have when we are borrowing money. Okay, it's also the interest rate when we are saving the money. Okay, so for both of the operations, we are going to use a consistent interest rate. Okay, so if there is a constant interest rate, okay, right, for both of the operations, so you can think about this. So when the interest rate increases, okay, when the interest rate increases, what do you think from the first point here? Consumers will find it more attractive to, what do you think? To, yeah, fill in that box. Money into the bank. Into the bank. Yeah, to save money into the bank, because you see here, interest rate is getting higher. So when you save the money into the bank, okay, you are going to earn a higher interest revenue. Okay, because we know that when you deposit a specific amount of money into the bank, you are going to earn some interest, and the interest is determined by the interest rate. When there's a higher interest rate and you put that money into the bank, you are going to earn a higher interest revenue. So consumers, they will prefer saving money into the bank if there's a higher interest rate, right? But what about the businesses? So the businesses, they will find it less attractive to borrow money to invest, right? Same concept. When there's a higher interest rate, okay, when you are borrowing money from the bank, you will have to pay a higher interest expenditure, and at the end, okay, it will give you a higher cost of production, right? And because of that, okay, it will become less attractive to invest, the money, okay, to use the money for investment. I mean, okay, right? So borrow right here, okay, yeah, borrow, okay. So yeah, so that's the concept, and so when we look at yeah, once again we have the same section below, okay, but yeah, the concept here is, when there is an increase in interest rate, then for consumers and businesses, they will act like this, okay, so vice versa. So when the interest rate decreases, okay, they will be the exact opposite, okay, yeah, all right, they will be in the exact opposite when the interest rate decreases. So you just have to remember that, okay, right? So what about here? Okay, so in the scenario here, let's assume the government, they decided to intervene the market by using monetary policies, okay, so they are trying to decrease interest rate, okay. So which stage in the business cycle do you think we are experiencing right now? So now they are trying to decrease the interest rate. What do you think? So once again, in monetary policies, there are also two options. Okay, yeah. So Jesse, yeah, they are probably in recession or in slum. Okay, somewhere even worse. Okay, so once again, monetary policies, you also have two options. Okay, so the first option here, okay, once again, you're trying to boost the economy, right? Boost the economy. Okay, so if you are trying to boost the economy, right, you always want to increase the money supply, or and okay, interest rate. Let's use IR for that. Okay, to lower the interest rate. Okay, so that's option one, right? So you see here, they are basically the same. They have the same concept. Okay, the fiscal policies and monetary policies, they have the same concepts, but we are manipulating different items to achieve economic objectives. Okay, right? Well, you should say there will be. Yeah, yeah. Well, if you're talking about financial portfolio, okay, financial portfolio, right? There will be, more. Yeah, that will be more attractive to the investors. Okay, but the thing is, financial portfolio. Okay, yeah, because when you are talking about, when the interest rate is getting higher, okay, right? Yeah, you know why people they are more willing to invest in some of the investments. Usually they belong to some financial portfolio where when you are investing into those investments, you are going to earn a higher interest, right? Because of the higher interest rate. But the thing is, in the reality, okay, when we look at the economy, those financial portfolio, they are not solid investment. Okay, they will, because they are just numbers. Okay, they're just numbers, right? Talking about the shares, talking about the bonds, talking about the funds, they are just numbers, and that's why sometimes we call them bubbles. Okay, yep, there's nothing in there. There's nothing in the bubbles. Okay, right? And when we talk about solid investment, we are talking about businesses. They are spending money to build factories, to build different businesses, to build machines, to buy more machines, to improve efficiency, to improve technology. That's solid investment. So we always focus on that part. Yeah, we always focus on that part instead of the financial investment perspective. And this is the major reason why, when no matter you are in economics or businesses, when we talk about investment, we are talking about all those general investments when people they have to borrow money to buy more capital goods, to expand the businesses, etc., etc., because they are the solid investment for the growth of an economy. And so, okay, right. uh Look, once again, for the financial investment, okay, yeah, if you talk about in economics, in the MC, right, we will only consider that when there is currency exchange involved. Okay, when there's currency exchange involved, okay, then we will think about the financial investment. Otherwise, we will all use the perspective from the general investment. Okay, yeah. So yeah, and they will not tell you exactly which kind of investment that you are going to have to consider. So you really have to think it through. So if that question, exchange rate is involved in there, then you will have to use financial investment to, okay, think about the question, okay, to solve the question. Well, but yeah, so like this, okay, right, yeah. And let's focus back on businesses. Okay, yeah. And so here for the business, right, the first option, okay, you have the same purpose. You're trying to boost the economy. Okay, so you have you can do it by increasing the money supply or decreasing the interest rate. And for the second one, right, once again, you want to stabilize uh, the economy. Okay, yeah, I don't have space for that. Yeah, so you will do the exact opposite. So you are trying to reduce the money supply, or you are trying to increase the interest rate. Okay, so and right now, okay, in this scenario, right, the government is decreasing the interest rate. So you know that if they're trying to decrease the interest rate, okay, yeah, when they're trying to decrease the interest rate, they're trying to boost the economy, okay, right? Because right here, all right, yep, okay. So we know which stage in the business cycle we are possibly at, okay, and if we know that, okay, so after the intervention, what are we going to expect? So for consumers, after the intervention from the government, what are we going to expect? So when there's a lower interest rate, what will happen to the consumers? What do you think they would do when the interest rate is getting lower? yeah, more spending, less saving, right? Yeah, exactly. Okay, because it becomes less attractive to save the money, and it becomes more attractive to borrow money for spending. So yeah, okay, so there will be less saving, right? Less saving because now we have a decreasing interest rate, and at the same time, okay, there will be more borrowing for spending on goods and services. Okay, right? Because now it's cheaper. It's cheaper to borrow. Yeah, cheaper to borrow. Okay, right? Uh, and yeah, and at the end, because when it is cheaper to borrow, you can say that's why you have a higher higher level of income. Okay, so it's basically the same. All right, as what we have done in fiscal policy. Okay, right? Yeah, so that's good. Okay, so I'm just gonna use the answers here, right? And also, what will happen to the businesses if there is an increase? No, if there is a decrease in interest rate. What do you think will happen to the businesses? So for businesses, when there is a decrease in interest rate, what do you think they are going to do? Yeah, there will be more borrowing for investment because now, right, more. Oh, sorry. It's not working. Right? Yeah, there will be more. Um, yeah, there will be more borrowing. Okay, more borrowing for investment. Okay, there will be more borrowing for investment because now it's cheaper to borrow. Okay, it's cheaper to borrow, right? They borrow more. They have a yeah. So there'll be a you see, if there's more, so more investment. Okay, so you can see investment will go up. Will go up when there is a high investment. There is a higher there's a higher opportunity, right, to earn more. Okay, to earn more revenue. Okay, and yeah, possibly, right, possibly more profit. Okay, more profit, right? Okay, so yeah, so we can see at the end when we look at both of them together. Okay, when we look at both of them together, there will be a higher output in the economy. Okay, so to the economy, it's pretty good if we are trying to decrease the interest rate. If the government is trying to decrease the interest rate, so yeah, the main purpose here, they're trying to boost up the output in the economy so that in our economy we can achieve economic growth. Okay, so that's why we can assume when the government is decreasing the interest rate, the economy should be in a very bad position, like a recession or a slump. Okay, yeah, right. So if we are if the government is decreasing interest rate and those things happen, so what do you think? The possible business response. Yeah. So basically, the possible business response is something very similar to the effects to the businesses. Okay, right? So yeah, they are going to do a lot of investment. Okay, like they could be they will employ more workers for okay yeah for production, higher production. Uh, oh yeah, sure. Okay, right, yeah, for higher production. Okay, yeah, and right when they yeah and they will try to expand the business for okay economies of scale. Well, we know that because when you have higher output, then you can enjoy economies of scale. Okay, so your average cost will go down. Okay, right. um yeah, so this is what you are going to expect from the business. This is what they are going to do when they see government is doing this policy. Okay, yeah, so they are going to employ more workers. The unemployment rate is going to go down because they want to have higher output. They need more workers for the production, and probably they are going to expand the business. Okay, because now it's cheaper to borrow, and if they are able to expand the business, they can enjoy higher economies of scale, right? And because of economy of scale, the average cost will be lower. Okay, yeah. So this is same thing that we always talk about. Okay, when you are writing the points, you always want to develop. Okay, you always want to develop them, right? Every time when you are talking about increasing the scale, increasing the size of your business, okay, if you want to develop them, economies of scale is always a good development. Okay, all right, yeah, okay. Right. So that's all for this part. And at the end, so take a look of the very last part over there. Uh, yeah, in the bottom. So here, okay. So as a recap, so how do we boost the economy using fiscal policies or monetary policies? So for fiscal policies, what we should do if we are trying to boost the economy, should we increase the tax or should we decrease the tax? Yeah, so decrease the tax and increase spending, right? Decrease the tax, okay, and increase spending. So at the end, people they earn more, so they will spend more, okay? Because right now we are trying to boost the economy, okay? What about monetary policies? Are we going to increase the interest rate or are we going to decrease the interest rate? Yeah, we are going to decrease the interest rate. Okay, yeah. The reasons are okay. The answers we got above. Okay, so we will save less, we will borrow more because now it's cheaper to borrow, so we will spend more on goods and services. Okay, and once again, okay, it will be the opposite if the government wants to slow down the growth. Okay, once again, you don't want to see a very rapid growth. Okay, you don't want to see an uncontrollable growth because that will create a huge inflation and you don't want to see that. And if that happens, then you are going to use option 2 from both policies, okay, to reduce the growth of the economy. Okay, right? So that is all for the chapter here. Okay, there's only one more chapter left. Okay, all right. Yeah, finally. All right, and I'm going to upload this written worksheet on Google Classroom. Okay, yeah. So yeah. So don't worry about the note taking and everything. Okay, all right. Okay, so yeah. So that's all for now. All right. And one more chapter to go. Okay. Yeah. Right. Is a bit yeah. I think the schedule yeah well I think for most of our subjects okay the schedules they are kind of falling behind okay but what can you do about it right now we have less hours of lessons, and yeah. So you just have to deal with it. Okay, but the exam is not going to stop for sure. Okay, yeah, for the local, yeah. I'm pretty sure even for the local, the British local public exam, they are not going to stop it, even though they said they are going to stop it. Okay, but I think they will just postpone, right? Yeah, the exam to June or July. Okay, right. Well, anyway, okay, so keep revising, and yeah, so next week we will go to the final chapter, and hopefully we can finish the final chapter before April. Okay, all right. So that's all, guys. Okay, I'll see you next week. All right, bye, 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 bye. Oh, bye, bye, bye.